and speak and see what they want to do. Somit Ray, he just spoken earlier, is a very good friend of mine. I'm working with him. I'm working with each and every possibilities to see what I can do for West Bengal. Being a Bengali, I believe this is part of my responsibility. I want to see some people, local people I could employ. And that is what I believe that is the gift I could certainly, share in my life. I am there in my company. Although it is established, I have a 60,000 square feet in Toronto, in downtown area. I have 90% of my employees are immigrants because I have gone through that phase of difficulties. The newcomers goes to a country, the difficulties I have faced. So, all these things, I have been in India many, many times. I invested a lot of time, effort, and money, and I'm quite eager to talk to. I just spoken few people here right now. There is a kind of people want to know a little more of our background. I'm not only in the nuclear industry. We supply military gadget as well as the security product. As you go through the airport, Canadian airport, part of my equipment is there too. So we have a very diverse technology, and I like to share. Anyone is interested, I will be more than happy to talk and see how we can certainly together establish something here in West Bengal. Thank you so much. Thank you.
May we request Mr. S. Mukherjee to say a few words about himself? No, sorry, thanks.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Subroto Mukherjee. I'm an architect by profession. My family actually, obviously from the surname you can make out, it comes from this place, just across the river. But we have been settled in Delhi for a long, long time now, several generations. I left India in 1994 when I was quite young, and for the last 20 years, I have been outside India in different places, in North Africa, in Europe, and lately, for the last 15 years in the Middle East. I'm currently based out of Qatar, and I think the key thing which I'd like to share with you, in fact, I had a presentation, but since we are running short, I'll just cut it short. The key thing I realized, the difference between construction here and construction, outside of India is that it is highly industrialized there, right? And essentially, building construction is more about assembling the building, rather than, a craft work, Here in India, it's more of craftsmanship, you just carve out everything, Things are changing now, but I'm talking of, till about, say, 10 years back, But still, there's India there's a lot to catch up, So the key difference we found in India is that people who are designing, managing the projects, they're all highly qualified professionals. They're minimum, engineering graduates, very often postgraduates, doctorates, etc., etc. But people who are implementing, typically they are, surplus rural labor, for want of a better word. These are guys who don't have enough, work in the rural areas. They just come, and construction being a tough job, they are forced to take up construction. So there's a big gap between people who are thinking and who are implementing. And as a result, despite the best designs, the quality, the actual, the build quality is very often poor, right? So we started looking for technologies, where we can bridge that gap. And one of the key technologies which we have, identified and which has now been implemented on a large scale, both outside India and as well as, increasingly in India, is called light gauge steel, technology. Essentially, what you do, you take very thin sheets of steel which are galvanized, but which are high tensile steel, and then you run them through, roll former machines, which are CNC, computer numeric control roll former machines. The design is all done beforehand, in the office, and the design is, ultimately sort of coded into, a software which the CNC machine is able to read. So what you do is that you just supply the CD to the site. So you're not dependent on the, the site worker interpreting your, drawings and designs in a different manner. He just runs that, on the CNC machine, and off comes, we call them sticks, which are formed metal, with the correct, sort of male, female, joints, with the flare, etc., etc. So it's more like a child's Lego set, which you just, put together, just using common human logic, and then you erect the buildings. These buildings we have implemented, a project which, many of my friends from Qatar would know is called the Barwa Fast Track Housing Project, which stands there. There were 2,000 units built in 1 year flat, at a very, very economical price. In India, we have started implementing. We have delivered a project in Goa recently. We are building projects in Delhi. We have an office in Delhi, by the way. I forgot to mention that we have currently offices in Delhi, Bangalore, and in Kochi, in Kerala. Our Delhi office is built from light gauge steel, and we are doing very well. A key opportunity for West Bengal, I feel, there are opportunities, which can be implemented across India and across the world. But a key opportunity for West Bengal, I realize that the West Bengal government is implementing the 100 days, the Manrega, scheme, which is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, with a lot of vigor, right? So essentially, these are, sort of poor people from the rural areas, which can be very quickly, sort of integrated into this construction practice, because all it needs, as the portions are coming out from the machine, they can just use common human, intelligence and then put it together, So this way they can build their own homes in the rural areas. They can build their, help build, homes in the urban areas. They can also build a lot of rural infrastructure, A big criticism about Manrega, across India, is that we are not creating assets. The government is spending, billions of, dollars, not rupees, but we are not creating, sort of tangible assets. We are just, people are digging soil, and just, depositing it somewhere else, and the monsoon comes and it gets washed away. This way we can actually integrate this technology with the existing schemes of the government and build something tangible for the community. I'll be available here today and tomorrow, so people who are interested, Manrega is just an example, but it can be implemented or used in any other real estate projects. I'll be happy to interact with them and share whatever information we have. Thank you.
May I request Mr. Sudipto Bose to please say a few words?
I'm Sudipto Bose, and I'm from United Kingdom. We have a couple of group companies out there, mostly with the name Sun Italia, Sun Consulting, Sun Investments. And we have worked together with our local partner, Mr. N.R. Dotto from Camellia. He is sitting at the back. And we are investing around 425 crores by 2014. And we expect it to raise to 700 crores total by 2015. We are into hospital, and we are also into infrastructure development. These are the two key areas, and Mr. Datta is working with other areas where we can work together. So that I leave it to him for discussion and financial viability. But two things I'd like to say is that it's not very easy investing in India. It's nothing to do with Bengal or anybody. There are certain central regulations, especially with the taxes and legal things between different countries that you face. And just to give you an example, one of the things that India has, which is advanced taxes. And that is nowhere else in the world they have it. So if you're trying to amalgamate the two companies, if you're having a subsidiary here, you do have a problem with your balance sheet. So these are few things, but that is not an excuse not to invest, because the more the problem that you face, the sweeter the challenge becomes. And that is the way we want to work on it. We are very keen, like just now I heard the gentleman talking about the construction. It is very important, especially for people like us, who do take international debt to construct or invest in India. It's very key. It's very important that we speed up or reduce the gestation period of our project. That is very important, because every day it costs you money. And everybody out here who is in the business will understand that. So it's very important to have such systems which we can work together to do a faster job and get our gestation period reduced. Thank you, and I'm here, so anybody else who wants to discuss with me. We are looking for joint ventures, not exactly joint ventures, but even suppliers who can work with us, and obviously also the other team members, including Joydeep out here, whom we can work. And he, I don't know, you have already heard Joydupta. He's one of the most well-known Bengalis out here. So it's great. Thank you. Thanks. Nice meeting you all.
May we request Dr. Krishna Gupta now to please make his presentation on the business opportunities in West Bengal. Dr. Gupta is the Managing Director of West Bengal Industrial Development Corporation.
Very good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to all the delegates from abroad. And thank you for those interesting pieces of information and knowledge that one got to know just now. Just to get you going on the brief background on West Bengal, some basic features and what WBADC has to offer. Maybe with what I heard just now, there might be synergies. I'm here with the team to explain what kind of facilities that we have for you, what fiscal incentives and non-fiscal incentives that we offer for anybody wanting to set up shop here, particularly or well in any sector. But before that, just to take you through Bengal, most of you know this, but the area of West Bengal is about 88,752 square kilometers, about 2.7% of the country's geographical area. Population is about 91.35 million. Fairly high density of population, which gets reflected in the very difficult land-man ratio in the state. Just one second. Good afternoon. I'm sorry about that. The business language, as we all know, is English. It is the gateway to Southeast Asia and Northeast. Shares a international frontier with Bangladesh, Nepal and Bhutan. Very close to the mining-rich states of Bihar, Jharkhand and Orissa. Even Bengal itself has a fairly rich mineral base. So these are some of the parameters, interesting statistics about Bengal which are important. Fairly high road density, good rail network, international domestic airports, a new greenfield private sector aerotropolis project coming up in Durgapur. It is the only private airport in India. 2 major ports and a new one coming up at Sagar. The other infrastructure is the optical fiber network. The bandwidth, power, it's a comfortable power situation we have in Bengal. The resources is fairly resource rich, both in terms of mineral resources, human capital, number of universities, degree colleges and so on. We have the world-renowned IIT Kharagpur and IIM Kolkata. Indian Statistical Institute is here, and a number of other national level research institutes. Abundant water resources and a number of water bodies. So what are the opportunities? Some of the sectors where investment is flowing in and more can be expected, both in our parks and out of our parks, is power. We already have an installed capacity of about 10,200 megawatt. Iron and steel engineering, and as you know, one of the oldest metal-based foundry clusters still exists in Howrah. A new foundry park is coming up at Howrah under our aegis with funds from the state and the central government. And engineering, as you know, contributes a fair amount of exports, almost 60% of engineering exports of Eastern region, and 90% of total wagon production happens here. ITES, fairly vibrant, huge amount of exports, generated 1.36 billion US dollar of exports here. Upcoming satellite IT hubs are Siliguri, Kalyani, Dankuni, Kharagpur and Haldia. And lowest attrition rates, one of the lowest attrition rates continue to be in Kolkata. And continuing with the IT exports, both the software technology parks and outside, I already said, all the world leaders in software such as TCS, IBM, Wipro, Cognizant, Siemens, Accenture, Ericsson, PwC, Skytech, Genpector have a presence in Kolkata. Food processing and horticulture is another important opportunity. As we all know, Bengal is a leading producer of vegetables, fruits and meat, including poultry. There are 5 agri-export zones set up across the state. 2.2, however, only 2.2% of agriculture produces processes compared to the United States, 65%, and China's 23%. So there's a huge opportunity there. And we, from WBIDC, are contributing in a small way. We have set up 2 food parks and are in the process of setting up a 3rd one. It's one of the highest fish producing states, and flowers, including orchids in the hill areas of Bengal. Hospitality and tourism, number of golf courses, the world renowned. It's one of the oldest golf courses in the world, the RCGC, Tollygunge, other clubs. Number of foreign tourists visiting Kolkata for the heritage. Number of luxury and budget hotels. Tea is another big sector. Jute. Leather. There's a Calcutta leather complex. It's one of the largest, Asia's largest integrated leather complex at Bantala. It's very close to Kolkata. And the jewelry craftsmen in the Domju Rangpur-Hati area in Howrah. So that was a very short snapshot of the attractiveness of Bengal. I'll speak a little bit about what we actually have to offer directly. And I'll speak directly to the entrepreneurs over here who are looking to set up shop here in Bengal. WBIDC was incorporated in '67 under the Companies Act. It is the principal state government agency for promotion of industries and industrial infrastructure in the state. This is essentially what we do: promotion of medium and large scale industries, facilitation through a single window clearance, promotion of joint sector and assisted sector units, development of business, trade, industrial links with domestic and foreign institutions and companies. State incentive schemes are operated by us. Industrial infrastructure we develop, mainly the parks and the infrastructure inside the parks and around the parks. And identification of areas suitable for development as industrial zones. These are the industrial parks that we have. Manikanchan is in Salt Lake. The built-up area is approximately 1,90,000 square feet. Is allotted to 33 companies. Some of the biggest names in jewelry, gems and jewelry, are here. It's also an SEZ. Shilpangan is the light engineering park again. Salt Lake City, 2,15,000 square feet. Mostly flatted modular structures. 56 companies have been allotted space here. Paridhan is the garment park. It's in Beliaghata, it's in Kolkata. 675,000 square feet of built-up area allotted to 83 companies. And we have very little space left. We have about, out of 55 to 60 modules, just about 5 to 10 left, which are going to be filled up soon. Food Park Phase 1 and 2 are already operational in Sankrail, Howrah. And this is a composite facility for food processing, packaging industries, cold chain. 102 acres in 2 phases. Frito-Lay, PepsiCo, is the anchor unit in the park. 44 companies have been allotted land. And the other well-known companies, both local and outside, have a presence in these parks. The Poly Park has been set up on 60 acres again in Sakrel, adjoining the food park. It has 45 plastic waste units. The more recent parks are Vidyasagar Industrial Park in Kharagpur, about 1150 acres, mostly manufacturing heavy industries. It's bounded by NH6 and NH60. Telcon is a joint venture of Tata Motors and Hitachi, is the anchor unit in the park. 21 companies have been allotted land in the park. Panagarh, that's on the highway. Fairly good connection. Very close to the proposed new airport at Andal in Durgapur. The area is 1458 acres. The anchor unit is Matix Fertilizer and Chemicals. The commercial production of fertilizer is slated to begin in April 2014. And there are a number of others, HR Johnson and a number of other units. Plasto Steel Park is located at Barjora and Bankura district, about 145 kilometers from Kolkata. It's an integrated steel park for industrial park for steel and plastic industries. 480 acres in 3 phases, 35 number of companies have been allotted space. Raghunathpur Steel and Light Industrial Park is a relatively new park. Area available is about 3,260 acres. It's in Purulia district, connected to NH32, NH62A. The railway head is nearby. Power sourced from Damodar Valley Corporation. Some of the recent investments there are from Reliance Cements and Damodar Valley Corporation. Rishi Bankil Shilpudyan is a Noihati, it's very close to Kolkata and North Chobis Parganas. Area of 97 acres, again very well located. The Zari hub in Sankrel, Howrah, to take advantage of the skilled craftsmen in this area which are available in Howrah district. Shalboni Industrial Park is basically the park for JSW Bengal Steel. It's about 4,400 acres. A huge investment of about 30,000 crores is expected, along with a captive power plant. Gora PSL Industrial Park, 11 kilometers north of Paschim Mednipur. Orissa Cement Limited is the anchor unit. Is setting up a cement grinding plant capacity of 1.35 million tons per annum. The construction work is on schedule. Nayachor project, again, it's a huge project on Nayachor Island in South Chobis Parganas district, in Sagar Islands. 3 components: power plant, industrial park and ecotourism park. We are waiting for environmental clearance from the Environmental Appraisal Committee, Delhi. The rubber park and foundry park are on the verge of operationalization. The rubber park is again in Howrah. It's set up by a SPV. It's funded by the ASIDE scheme of Ministry of Commerce, Government of India, on an area of about 110 acres. 200 units are expected to come up for manufacturing rubber sheets, footwear, rubber hoses, tubes, microcellular sheets, automotive rubber products. Foundry Park, again near the rubber park, Ranihati, Howrah, is being developed by another SPV, again financed by a side scheme of Ministry of Commerce, Government of India, and us, and WBIDC. 924 acres is the area, and huge employment potential from the first phase, which will be covered over 600 acres. This is what is happening. What is forthcoming is the following. Food Park Phase 3 is going to be developed adjacent to Food Park Phase 1 and 2 in Sankrel, Howrah, over about 35 acres. Marketing of the plots is in progress. Advertisements are out. We've got a fairly good response, very encouraging response. Gems and Jewelry Park, a new Gems and Jewelry Park at Ankurhati, Domjor, over about 7 acres of land. DPR has been prepared, advertisement published for inviting expression of interest. Gwaltor Industrial Park at Paschim Mednipur, roughly 1,000 acres of land is available. Transfer of land is under process. Intergovernmental processes are in process. the infrastructure around the park will take off once we are in possession of the land. The Haldia Industrial Park, approximately 300 acres of land. Again, this is something that's going to happen in the next couple of years. Garment Park at Bajbaj, over 9.5 acres of land, is also something which is on the drawing board. We are working on the DPR and other formalities. Some of the other emerging initiatives under the single window system, which has been taken up recently, are the constitution of a task force to strengthen Shilpa Sathi, where a senior level officer from these departments, which are the clearances needed mostly, from fire and emergency, land and land reforms, environment, finance, irrigation and power. This meets every day. It meets every day. A number of projects are referred to it. Wherever they are stuck, the officers chase it from desk to desk, and I'm happy to say that this is working fairly well. A number of projects that were lying stuck for want of pursuance have been cleared. The core committee is another forum, is another initiative of the government to facilitate interaction and speed of industrialization. It's being chaired by the Honorable Chief Minister. Big projects, mega projects, chambers of commerce are represented here. Again, a forum to untie various knots that face entrepreneurs. Thank you. And just one more, we are here with the team. We can have one-on-one meetings with whoever is interested to explain incentives or the plots, the details of which are also available on the website of WBIDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll have the B2B meetings. I'll request you to spare a couple of minutes with me so that I can explain the procedure of the B2B meetings for smooth operation of the meetings. I repeat, you have been given, to the local delegates you have been given the B2B schedule in alphabetical order of the local organizations, which also mentions whom you are going to meet at what sequence. There is another sheet which mentions the rooms where the overseas delegates and the government representatives will be situated. I'll request the overseas delegates and the government representatives to go to their respective rooms first. I'll request the organizers from NROAB to help us in this. First, I mention who all will be situated in ITC room, first floor, that is the room adjacent to this hall. From the government, we have Dr. Krishna Gupta and Sri S.P. Yadav, Executive Director of WIDC, and other representatives from the WIDC. In ITC room, Dr. Rajiva Sinha, who is the Principal Secretary of Micro and Small Scale Enterprises and Textiles, Government of West Bengal. We are expecting Mr. Shaurup Roy, General Manager, IT Promotion Cell, IT and Electronics Department. And to deal with the real estate and construction queries, we have the President of CREDAI Bengal, Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia. The ITC room deals in the sectors engineering, manufacturing, MSME, IT, real estate and construction. From the overseas delegates, we have Mr. Joy Sharkar,